According to CNBC, Elon Musk typically goes to bed around 3 a.m. and wakes up by 9:30 a.m. In a 2014 Auto Bill interview, he also admitted to having 8 Diet Cokes a day
because I said so,
but then cut back to 1 or 2 because he would become too wired to work. The truth is, not everyone is born to be productive. Most of the world's greatest leaders have had to break bad habits like caffeine addiction, or in Arianna Huffington's case,
I actually collapsed from exhaustion. I hit my head on my desk, broke my cheekbone.
There's a price to be paid for emulating others' productivity habits when you don't understand the context surrounding them, including diet, physical, and mental health. Don't try and mimic great players who are more than not exceptions to the rule, or it will lead to burnout for factors the general public isn't typically privy to. There's a better way that is far more personalized and effective that increases productivity while preventing and recovering from burnout. I've even got a free download for you below that will help. This is where we can reverse engineer Musk's more sound productivity habits to integrate biology and psychology for success. Musk is quoted as saying, "Constantly think about how you could be doing things better." He shared that his focus is on optimizing his time, which requires a strong feedback loop. For example, you feel like you're capable of far more than what you're giving, but your brain just isn't up to the task. The issue in this case isn't time, it's cognition, because when you're focused, time becomes irrelevant. Mental fatigue is the feedback. Ignore it and it will keep getting louder until you... In the free download below, there is a feedback loop for you to use to measure how you are performing to better optimize your physical and mental health while boosting your focus and your productivity. You'll note that there are 16 warning signs that give you feedback that you're off track. These are the warning lights that come on in your car and force you off the road to read the manual before it gets worse. In Elon's case, excessive caffeine use was one of his. When you become addicted to caffeine, it becomes like a fire that you need more fuel to keep burning because your body adapts to it. The only problem is it can also mimic anxiety. So even though you'll be fully charged, you'll become too stimulated to function effectively. You're outside of what we call the optimal arousal zone for focus. Instead, combine caffeine with a natural nootropic called L-theanine, which relaxes without sedation. It also negates the negative effects of caffeine and dials in your focus within 30 minutes of consumption by producing alpha brainwaves. And I'll share why this is critical to you shortly. The second step is to reverse engineer Musk's next piece of advice, which is, don't tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like.
You are just awful. You're one of the worst actors in the history of film. And I think that you need to go away.
External feedback is phenomenal, but internal feedback can even be more powerful when it's used correctly. Think about the past week. How would you rate your overall productivity and focus out of 10? Now, how would you rate your energy levels out of 10? In helping leaders and entrepreneurs who've tried every self-help hack in the book to get energized and focused, yet still have little or nothing to show for it, we see a clear connection between energy and productivity. With one caveat, they must be able to channel that energy into what Musk calls MIT, their most important task. To do that, you must understand how your brain works. According to sleep researcher Nathan Klopman, your brain can only focus for 90 to 120 minutes at a time before it needs to take a break. He calls this the ultradian rhythm, a cycle that exists during sleep and wake hours. It's a pattern of focus and rest. The problem is, when you're burning the candle at both ends, your highs aren't as high as what they could be, and your lows become black holes of exhaustion. That's why in the 16 warning signs in the free journal pages below, you'll see multiple factors that contribute to a loss in productivity, including poor gut health and food choices, sleep loss, excessive caffeine use, and yes, shallow breathing. By being honest with yourself about the state of your physical and mental health, you'll start to see patterns unfold that will fine-tune your next steps while increasing your energy and cognition, so you have the resources to focus on your most important tasks. Musk's next piece of advice is to focus on signal over noise. In this case, let's re-engineer this to frequency over time. This is vitally important to productivity, so listen closely. Every single day, we're bombarded with distractions that take us away from our most important task, which is what Musk is referring to. It's noise such as social media, ChatGPT, and emails. In the past few months, Musk has demonstrated how much focusing on noise through erratic posts on Twitter can cost the company, with major advertisers pulling out.
Coca-Cola halted all spending on Twitter ad revenue, fell about 35% in the fourth quarter due to a slump in ad sales.
To you or me, that noise could cost tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Underneath the surface of this noise, there is something far more nefarious happening. Social media use alters your brain frequency and how you think, act, and feel. Think about it. When was the last time you had to get something done but your brain didn't want to play ball? It was because it was the right time to do it, but the wrong brain frequency to do it in. Frequencies are the unseen language of the brain. You need to pair them with the task at hand. Otherwise, it's like someone speaking Spanish or you're speaking English. MIT researchers have been studying how people can boost attention by manipulating their brainwaves by using neurofeedback. One such device that can help is called Muse. Muse trains your brain through neurofeedback. For example, when I wrote over 70,000 words for my book Unstoppable, I used it daily for 15 minutes. Muse translates your brain activity into sounds of weather. If your brain is busy, you'll hear stormy weather, but when it's calm, you'll hear peaceful weather. This neurofeedback gives real-time insight into what my brain is doing. So during the day, I can tune out the noise and consciously operate in the right frequency for focus. When you re-engineer Musk's productivity advice to identify the 16 triggers that destroy your day by collecting feedback on how you're performing, tune your brain frequency to the task, and minimize social media use to dull the noise, you will eliminate the dangers of burning out while maximizing your chances of success. But your first and easiest step is to download the free daily journal pages from the Unstoppable journal below so you can start collecting feedback and tuning out the noise.